right? So what I thought would work well today, given some of the information that we received during a call that we had with everybody back on the 15th, this is a potential solution for sales, for marketing, and whether it's management or the individual themselves, the person who is out on the street, the salesperson, or the the sales engineering, the mid-market sales managers, the retail sales, whomever, to start benefiting from the use of Salesforce. So what I'm going to do today is kind of walk through 3 different individuals and how they could start to benefit from the Salesforce environment. And as they start to use the Salesforce environment, how not only are they doing their job, but driving business, driving visibility, and then working with other individuals, so marketing working with sales, and sales conversely working with marketing, or the sales engineering team, or even management coming in and looking at a forecast, or looking at dashboards, and maybe looking at information that's up for renewal and coordinating between the account owner as well as marketing to start driving some awareness to those companies that it's time for renewal and possible different products. But with that, what I want to do is start looking at this email. So this is just one conversation happening between Elliot and Sue, but it's within the context of your upcoming users conference. So your Corp Tax Users Conference 2015, and what Elliot is asking Sue to do is to contacts to the campaign, but specifically accounts whose annual revenue is greater than $87 million, right? And once you're done with that, let the sales team know so they can start reaching out to those accounts, those contacts with any communications or just any advanced planning to really drive attendance and awareness of the upcoming show. So with this, I'm going to play a little bit of the role of Sue. So Sue receives this email. That's fine. She works in email all the time. And one thing I want to express today is Salesforce has a lot of capabilities, right? But one thing we want to do is work within your current ecosystem. So if people are familiar and comfortable doing a lot of work with an email, that's fine. What we'll see today is how you collaborate within Salesforce. That being said, we do have the ability to send it out through email as well, and that's what we're seeing right now. So with that, Sue receives this email from Elliot. She says, okay, I want to check this out. So all Sue's going to do is view comment. And once she does that, she's brought automatically into her Salesforce environment. Now, when she does that, she is now within the context of a particular group that's focused on the 2015 Users Conference. So this particular question that Sue reached out to her, that Elliot reached out to her, and what she's going to do is just respond back. Very simple, right? To the point of today's purpose, just say okay. Now this is just one conversation happening in relationship to this particular group. So what I want to do right now is look at all the conversations within this group, the one we just seen between Elliot and Sue, other communications that are going on between Elliot and other sales representatives, and also Sue coming out and saying, look, here's the email template that we want to use, right? So we can use this to send out in batch or individually as well, right? But even beyond this particular conversations and the details of the actual conference itself within this group, the individuals that are participating, any files that I need to store, are all going to be here within this particular group. So as I plan for this, and this group could be for the user conference. It could have other implications as well. It could be for maybe a global account team collaborating on a single account, maybe a group that's focused on sales strategy, customer service, onboarding new employees, engineering conversations. There's a lot of applications throughout the organization. And this group and these conversations all really enabled through Chatter. And Chatter is the collaborative engine of Salesforce. It is native to Salesforce. And it permeates the entire Salesforce platform. So initially it's seen that within the context of a group, but what we'll see is when we get into campaigns or leads or accounts or contacts, all the standard information you expect to see within the CRM, it exists there. It exists there as well. So what Sue is doing, she had started off within this particular group, and what she wants to do now is saying, well, following Elliot's request, she wants to get into this particular campaign associated to this group. A couple ways she can do that. One, and first of all, she can always come back to the actual campaigns themselves, right? And just look at this campaign. And the one thing that Sue's always interested in doing, this is one of her responsibilities, she needs to understand the return on investment of all the campaigns that she's running. And what she's going to do, she's going to open this up and say, you know what, all my different types of campaigns, my return on investment is pretty solid. There are a couple here that may be high level or not starting yet. So I'll just kind of do this a little bit reverse. So we have the financial reporting seminar, regional field marketing, annual customer conference. You know, they all have a very nice return on investment given you know, what you invest financially and resource-wise into those. What we want to do right now is kind of get into the actual user conference campaign, and it's the Corp Tax Users Conference. Some basic information about the campaign itself, some key target dates, and maybe some campaign results. Now, since the conference hasn't actually started yet, the results will be kind of forthcoming. But following up on Elliot, from what Elliot said, what Sue wants to do is add members to this particular campaign. So all she needs to do very quickly, very easily, is come to Manage Members. She wants to add members. Now, what she can do is work within leads or contacts, and she could, you know, come in here and very simply say if this account name equals this, or this state or this region equals that, add them in. But what Sue's going to do is work with an existing view of some accounts, right? And what she wants to do is pull all contacts at accounts with revenue greater than $87 million. So given what you do with your sales organization and your mid-market sales managers and your retail sales managers, if you need to kind of bifurcate and structure your contacts and your accounts, very, very simple to do. So Sue selects this, automatically populates some of the criteria, and then it's going to add to this list, right? So there's quite a number of contacts that Sue can work with that fit within here, and we're just going to add it in and add to the status, kind of called sent. All right. So now, if we go back to the campaign itself, all right, we have about 30 members now that we've added to the actual campaign. So what Sue's going to do now that she's done that, just come back over here. And one thing I mentioned previously as far as chatter and how it permeates the system, this item called Show Feed. So Show Feed is where we can start accessing chatter. So again, this is within the context of this particular campaign. Now, Sue's actually added in the contacts, and she can do the same thing with potential leads as well. But right now, she's focused on contacts. So what she wants to do is just let individuals in sales know that this is done, right? So she's going to do what we call an @ mention. So if you're familiar with social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter with the hashtags and the @ signs, very similar, right? But now we're taking that use that you find within social media and applied it to the world of business within chatter. So I'm going to do @ mention. I'm going to call up Elliot, right? I'll just say done, right? And then what I also want to do is @ mention Anthony, right, leader of sales, and I'm just going to tell him contacts added to campaign, or something a little bit more explicit. I can only spell. There we go, right? And once I do this and I share that, Elliot's going to receive a message and Anthony's going to receive a message, and I'm just going to kind of add that to a topic. So now if anybody wants to do any research on the 2015 user conference, it's going to come up very, very easily within the Salesforce environment. Now the next thing that Sue really wants to do is kind of check out her business. All right, one campaign, multiple campaigns, looking at return on investment. We've seen a little bit of that, but really there's the leads, and the leads come in through multiple channels. So a lot of information that Sue wants to look at, and she's going to accomplish that via the dashboards. So I'm going to hide this, and what I don't want to do is look at the sales executive dashboard. I want to look at the marketing dashboard, marketing executive dashboard, right? So all this information that we're kind of working and bringing into Salesforce, it can all be put into a report, and then it can all be elevated visually into a dashboard. Now I can have any number of dashboards, but right now what Sue wants to work with is the marketing executive dashboard, looking at total campaigns by revenue and pipeline, maybe campaigns by leads generated, pipeline revenue source for marketing activities, right? What's the effectiveness of the marketing organization as it relates to driving revenue, growing the business, right? All important metrics that Sue gets measured by, right? So we can take all that information and visualize it. And what's great within Salesforce is these dashboards, these individual components, you know what? They're not static. They are very dynamic. So if I wanted to, I can just hover over and get an answer. But if I wanted to do a deeper dive, all I need to do is click into it and get more information. And if I want to, hide some details, I can do that to get a summary view. Or if I need to customize it, I can do that. So we're going to get a look at how we can customize a dashboard and a report over the course of today's presentation. Now, the other thing that Sue had noticed when she was back on her home screen is that not only was there a communication about the user conference, but let's see, there was also, hang on, how did I get into the, I'm sorry, I need to do one thing. I lost my Sue marketing. Hang on for 1 second. Somehow I came in as Anthony Cohn. Hold on, let's do this, because that'll log out. There. So now we're in it, Sue. Not quite sure if I was before, but the prior conversation about the user conference, but also the other thing that Sue noticed on her chatter feed was that there's a new web direct lead that came in. And as soon as this gets created, whether it came from your HubSpot, whether you have landing pages and people fill out forms and submit those leads, this is one example of how we can capture that information. And once it's captured, we can have a workflow that comes in and says, something new has been created. In this case, it's a lead. It could be a contact, could be an account, could be an opportunity. It could be on a field status change, or in this case, a new record. So Sue sees that Tom Samsonite from United Partners is actually a new web direct lead. So she's going to click on it, open it up, right? So now that she's within leads, she can come in here. The lead at this point has not yet been qualified. Nobody's really spoken to this person. They filled out some information on the web to express an interest. So what Sue wants to do is really kind of qualify this before she hands it over to sales. So she may come in and she can, do some activity, call direct. You can have it set up such that an email automatically goes out to those individuals once they, do that submission on the website. But for right now, what Sue wants to do is just get in, do a very quick call with Tom. You know what? He is the decision maker. There is a defined project, and yes, he does have budget. Right? We're going to leave the time frame empty for now, and we're going to go ahead and save this.
That's pretty cool.
All right. So that quality of the lead has gone from really 0 bars up to 2. And she's feeling good about it. So what she wants to do now is she wants to take this lead and pass it over to sales. So what we're simply going to do is change it. We're going to change it to Anthony Cohn. And we can have other parameters set up to make that process more efficient, where it goes from one owner to another based off certain criteria. But right now what happened is Sue received a new web direct email. She came in, she did some process to qualify it. Could have been some phone calls. Could have been some investigation of that account, of that individual. But at some point in time, the lead is now ready for sales to pick up. And in doing so, what she's done, she's taken that lead owner and she's passed it over to Anthony Cohn within sales. So with that, what I want to do is transition from Sue over to another user. So I'm going to close this tab, and I'm going to open up Safari in Anthony Cohn. There we go. So now I'm logged in as Anthony. Anthony represents the sales organization. Now I know there's a couple different ways you structure your sales between your RSMs and your mid-market sales managers. Given the time that we have today, I didn't want to get into everybody's role, so I'm kind of like a blended role of multiple individuals, all within sales. So I received an email from Sue about the campaign as well as the new conference. So here's that communication that Sue had sent out to me for the users conference. So I can start adding contacts to an actual campaign. All right, that's cool. And I see some other information as well that we've already seen. But what I'm also seeing within my Salesforce environment, just to kind of give you an overlay, is I have some information on the left that makes it easy for me to navigate and get some activities done. If I want, I can just collapse that, get more screen real estate back. We've already seen the chatter feed. On my home screen, I have a couple different things that are important for me to run my business. I have some insight into my top dashboard. So while Sue was looking at the marketing team and their efforts, since Anthony is in sales, he's looking at sales from closed business, sales pipeline, and maybe even sales activity. And some other information below associated to tasks and calendars. If you're working with Gmail, if you're working with Outlook, you can have that integration between the two to make it a seamless environment. And again, whether I'm working in my email system, doing tasks and emails and events, that's fine. Or if I want to do that in Salesforce and have it push out, easily accomplished well. But the task at hand was to do that communication out to some contacts of Anthony's. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to come over to contacts, and I'm going to do mass email contacts. I can do one by one, but I want to create a view, which I've already done, sending to the 2015 user conference. I'm just going to say go. So of that entire list that Sue had generated of greater than $87 million, what Anthony is doing is just working with his slice of the pie, his particular contacts. Right? So these are all his contacts that are associated there. Now these are not real emails, so I don't have any risk of sending out an email to somebody with your name on it. But once we have the list, I'm just going to go next. And I have a couple different templates that have been prefabricated for me, whether it's a inquiry email, TCO white paper. But right now what I want to use is the user conference email template, right? And I could have marketing templates, sales, service, all sorts of stuff. I want to take a look at this. I want to preview it. All right, see what it looks like. All right, so you can take this information, and this may be what you're doing today in HubSpot. So this may be a little overlap between the systems. So if you want to do this within HubSpot, that's fine. If you want to use some of the standard out-of-the-box capabilities of Salesforce, this is one of the possibilities, right? So it's about the user conference, automatically pull their contact name or their lead name, a link to kind of register for the actual show, and maybe even agenda, right? Having some great talent showing up to the event, right? That looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and close that. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and send it out. All right? And activity for each message, so I'm going to send it now, or I could schedule it. I'm just going to go ahead and send it out. Okay, and I am finished. So I'm finished with that. So I've kind of worked within the context of this conversation, and that was just a mass email that I've done for my contacts. But CRM itself is kind of more than just my contacts. So what I'm going to do is kind of take one step back a little bit. I've already described the home screen and chatter. Campaigns we've seen when Sue was working that, and as well as the lead as well. So the lead that we had seen, Tom Samsonite came over. It's been scored a little bit. And I think I have multiple Tom Samsonites that I was preparing for the demo. That's why I only have two hours here. But again, it's going to be passed over from marketing. I'm going to come in here, schedule some activity with this individual to further qualify, to understand, is he the decision maker, what's the time frame, is this immediate or something they're planning for next year, right, getting ready for tax season, and go ahead and save that. Right? Now when I'm doing this, and we'll see this throughout the entire platform, I have my activity history that I've done, right, email, thank you for your inquiry that was automatically automated. I could do some emailing, open activities. And what I really want to do right now is just do hang on for 1 second. There we go. Just do a very simple, I'm going to just schedule an event, right? And it's going to this, right? Say call. It's my lead, not related to an opportunity, and I'll schedule it for later on today, right? Keep it real simple, right? That's good enough. So if I'm managing a lead, an account, an opportunity, or other individuals are assisting me, say like sales engineering or account teams, they're all going to be managing their activities. So if I look at a record, not only am I going to see my activities, but the entire team's activities. And then based off those activities or the lack of activities, I can see that, well, you know what? This company's coming up for renewal, and nobody's been speaking to them in the past 30, 60, 90 days. That's a problem. But now that I have my actual lead, at some point in time, that lead is going to get converted to a real-life opportunity. So just very simply, I'm going to go convert. Now, the record owner is not going to be Billy West. It's going to be Anthony Cohn. That's me, right? Send an email to the owner. That's fine. The account name, I'm going to create a new one, right? And I'll just call it UP. Demo environments always have a lot of information, and the convert status is qualified. Give it a subject. All right, get some money, right? And it's going to do this. So once I convert the lead, it creates the lead, makes a contact. It creates the other information, creates the account, as well as a potential for the early stage opportunity itself, right? So I have the account, United Partners, I have the opportunity it created, and I have the contact. And what we're also seeing is a wealth of other information about this particular account. So what I want to do right now is call up a more mature account record. Here we go. Right. So United Partners, and this is a standard account within Salesforce. So what I can start to do is understand what is my account presence with this company. What's the team that's helping me manage this, from the rep to the executive sponsor, support reps, account manager, kind of sales engineer who's on the team. Who are the contacts that I typically speak to? Any opportunities? What have I sold in the past? What am I trying to sell today and tomorrow? And then, potentially bringing in, this is where your current environment of NetSuite, one thing we could do is to certainly integrate with NetSuite. So if cases are still to be managed within NetSuite, what we want to potentially do is bring that information into the Salesforce environment. So if you're getting ready for a meeting with United Partners, what I want to know is what is the full list of activities going on. If there's an issue within support, somebody has some latest software, there's been some type of issue, an enhancement request, I want to know about that, because if I'm going to a meeting and I have my agenda, the last thing I want is to have that meeting derailed by some other issue that could have been resolved had I had that visibility into it. So all the activities that have occurred or to be occurred, and even the assets as well. What has been sold in the past, right? So from Corp Tac compliance, data management, workspace, calendar, ignore those images right there. But the workspace version 2, release 2.01, 1, 2, 3 are just some examples of how you can start getting that full account presence with your customers. And when we start looking at orders and invoices, that's just another example of what you can pull in from NetSuite and hang it off of the actual account page. So again, that full account 360 or your account presence that you have with a particular company. Now, I've been speaking pretty solid for about 20 minutes now. Before I kind of proceed forward, you have any questions at this point?
One question are those tabs where you went from account, team, contacts, opportunities, cases, open activities. Is that customized in terms of the order? Not that I changed it, but just wondered.
Absolutely. So one thing that's great about the Salesforce environment is that it is what you need it to be. So very quickly, I'm going to come here just to show you something that what I think it really is one of the key areas that helps Salesforce differentiate ourselves from other providers. So whether it's the order of these tabs, whether it's the fields themselves, I'm going to come over here and go Edit Layout. Now once I do that, I'm going to come down first to address the sequence question. So let's say I wanted cases down below. I want to put all the NetSuite information kind of next to each other, right? So cases, orders, invoices. And partners doesn't make any sense. I'm going to get rid of that. And projects I'm not really managing, and groups neither, but I want to keep notes and attachments as well as account history. Everything else looks pretty good to me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save that. Actually, I'm not going to save it yet, because now potentially what I could also do is, you know what, if I needed to move information around, right? So customer number, and I'm going to pull that, just pull it over here, move it around, right? Simple, just clicks and drags, and that's what you'll see throughout the entire Salesforce environment. So I've moved a field, I rearranged my tabs. I'm going to go ahead and save it and say yes. All right, so now I have my customer number down below, and then I have the reorganized tabs where now I have my cases, orders, and invoices all next to each other. Okay, did that answer your question?
It does.
Great, great. So what I want to do right now is, you know, one thing that I'm tasked to do as a salesperson is I have to drive revenue, right? So the revenue really happens and occurs at the opportunity level. So there's a couple that have been done in the past between Casey and Bill, and now I'm kind of the owner of this account. I do have an existing opportunity open, and as I look at the opportunity, much like I had seen on the account, I see a wealth of information. Now this information is going to be, you know, for this particular opportunity. So the history, the open activities, you know, the roles are all related to the opportunity itself. And if I'm looking at the products, I can see what I'm actually referencing. So the calendar, the provision, entity management. If I generate quotes, I'll see that here as well. Any approvals, if I wanted to identify, you know, competitors or any notes and attachments, I can do that as well. And as we move this opportunity through its cycle from, you know, early qualification to needs analysis to purchase order to closed, we can manage that and really give it those different steps and different milestones to walk through. And as the sales, you know, person responsible for this, there's going to be other individuals who participate in really, you know, establishing that relationship, gaining that trust, doing discovery, delivering demos. So I just, you know, built a very simple section for the sales engineering comments, where the engineer would come in, give their next step, their comments, talking about, you know, where they are in the engagement process. You know, they're doing discovery, they're doing demo builds, whatever it may be. And much like we had seen prior, you know, I can now collaborate on this opportunity. So if I'm working with a team of individuals, this is a key account for us, I want to work with my team, or somebody's reaching out to me, they can do that within the context of the actual opportunity itself. So in this case, we see that Elliot has come in, he's looking at this particular part of the business, and he's looking at this opportunity, and he sees that this account already has certain products, so we should probably be positioning gold support as well. So let's set up some time early next week to review this account. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to respond to Elliot, say, you know, that's great. How does July 8th work? All right. So now I'm taking this where I might have done this in email. I'm just doing this within Salesforce. So if anybody had to come back and kind of follow up on these conversations, they can do that very easily. If I had done that with an email, it's lost within that individual's email conversations. So what I want to do next is kind of look at what I'm actually positioning to United Partners for this particular deal. And my products right now are what we kind of displayed, the calendar, provision, and management. What I want to do right now is I want to add in the gold support. So I'm going to add a product, and I have the list to pull from. But what I want to come down here is say the gold support. I'm just going to select it. Now the quantity, again, this is where probably it could be the number of seats, or if you sell the support not by seats but by a single year, that's fine. So I've always sold support by the year, and let's say it's $500,000. All right, and I'm just going to leave the date blank. I'm going to say save. And there's different ways you can actually structure that. And actually, I think I didn't type in $500,000, I typed in $5 million, but that's fine. We all like to have a $5 million deal. But now when I look at my products, I have the 3 original ones, and I added in my gold support. Once I've done that, what I want to do is actually generate a quote. And I'm going to give this one UP July. I can have any name I want to do with it. Contact, I'm going to not bother with that, but the expiration date is going to be good to the end of the month. All right, and it already calculates the totals, my contact name, bill to, ship to information. I can change it if I need to. And I'm going to say this is fine. Go ahead and save it. So it's going to take that information off of the opportunity and start generating a quote. Right? So I see the same line items here. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to create a PDF. Create a PDF, put my logo on it, whatever I need to. I can structure this so it fits my format, my terms and conditions. And I'm going to actually save to quote. All right? Now I could have emailed it out, but there's the actual PDF itself. And what we find a lot of times, our customers may use solutions such as DocuSign to automate and bring e-signature into the equation. But what I also see before this even goes out the door is the need to have some type of approval on the quote or the opportunity. Now that could be based off of the products being sold. It could be based off a certain discount percentage. And if none of those areas are concerns, it goes automatically to approval. But if you have, say, greater than 10% discount percentage, or if you have a certain margin that you're trying to maintain, that would need to go to an approval as well. And if they try to do the next step, you'll get a validation error message. But in this case, we're just going to talk to approval and not actually walk it through the approval as something that you can configure very easily out of your Salesforce environment. So what we want to do next is kind of just go to my dashboards, right? And I don't want the marketing executive dashboard. I want the sales executive dashboard. So now we see everything about sales. So the top 3 buckets, components we had seen already on my home screen, but now I have a wealth of other information about sales and how we're doing, what we're selling, month over month, my forecast, my sales pipeline, how people are doing in generating pipeline and where those deals sit in their various stages, leaderboards, largest opportunities, right? And what I want to do right now is just refresh this, because certainly that opportunity I just created for $5 million should be the top of the pile. But a lot of information I can start to do. But again, the thing that's great here is all that data within Salesforce, I can start building out reports and start building out the actual dashboards. And there we go, United Partners, $5 million, needs analysis. All right, so the one thing I want to do next is I'm getting ready to go out on the road. I want to take my business with me. And to do that, I want to use my phone. All right, so I'm going to drag my phone down to this screen. Oop, I have my wife giving me some unhappy faces. And what I want to use when I actually go on the road is Salesforce One. So I'm using an iPhone, could be a Samsung Droid as well, and I'm just going to tap on Salesforce One. So Salesforce One is our mobile solution. It comes with your Salesforce license. It's not a separate system, so any rules, custom fields, processes that you have are going to be available on your mobile device. And when I come in, a couple of things point out. I'm going to come to what I call the hamburger, right? So the hamburger gives me access to some dashboards, a Today app, my basic CRM that you would expect to see, my accounts, my contacts, other information as well, right? All within my mobile app. But right now, if I wanted to just get up to date with the business, I want to open up dashboards. And I can look at the sales executive dashboard, the marketing dashboard, information I've accessed recently. But it's not just a view of the information, right? We've all seen this before. What I can start to do is filter or even refresh. So if I want to dive into this sales pipeline, I just tap on it. It opens up with the underlying information. So whether it's the opportunity name or the account name, or maybe the opportunity owner themselves, right? If I wanted to take a deeper dive, and if I wanted to, let's see, get into the stage name and sort by stage, I can do that. And once it returns, I can then drill further into an actual record themselves. There we go. So everything that's prospecting, I don't really care about prospecting. But just for demonstration's sake, if I want to get into the Allied Tech opportunity, I just tap on it, and it opens up the actual opportunity itself, right? So again, we're working through, get the visual sense of where we are with the opportunity, prospecting, qualification, needs analysis, all accessible on my device. So I can access dashboard, I can get into a Today app, which is actually pretty cool, because not only do I get my meetings, I get my recent records, the feed that we had seen all provided to me, so kind of a single stream of everything that's important to me, right? So the user conference, the opportunity, some account news that's popping up, and maybe even, you know, the sales executive dashboard as far as closed business, right? So it's very simple for me to say, how am I doing? How's the company doing? Everybody's doing great. And what we'll do next is just get into the account, because I want to progress that opportunity to the next stage. I have different filters I can set up. So again, if I needed to look at all my accounts with a revenue greater than $87 million, greater than $300 million, greater than $1 billion, very, very simple to do. But I'm just going to get into United Partners on my device. What I can see is some information about the account themselves, right? As well as all the related information about this account. So we've already seen how that looks within the desktop view, the account team, the opportunities, the open activities, right, all here. I want to get into the opportunity. And I'm going to get into the opportunity that's worth $5 million, which is very nice. And what I want to do is I want to update this. So a couple things I can do. I can come in here and I can select edit and actually come in here and change the stage. If you notice, we have these little icons down below. These are actions, publisher actions. And I can make it so much like chatter within an object is contextual, these actions can be contextual as well. So I can have certain actions on an opportunity. I can have different actions on a lead, and even completely different actions on an account. And I can also have some actions that are global. I find them everywhere. So I tap on this one, right? Just kind of pops up. These are all the different actions I can take on an opportunity. I can create activities, do a post, edit, associate a file, you know, add a new opportunity product to the mix, or if I wanted to, you know, clone it or submit for approval. What I want to do is I want to edit this opportunity. So it opens up the opportunity, and what I want to come down to is the stage. Go to stage, and I want to change this to proposal price quote, and just say done, and then save. All right, so one more stage to go before I'm actually done. And the last thing I want to do here is I want to actually reach back out to Elliot because I want to ask Elliot for a little bit of help in negotiating this deal. So what I'm going to do is find Elliot, type his name. All right, there we go. And just ask very nicely. All right, help me out here. Right, here we go. And submit it. So again, within the context of the opportunity, Elliot's going to get that message. And he's a nice guy, so he's going to help me out. So that's how I can start to take my business with me on my mobile device and accessing all that different information, right? Whether it's dashboards and what actually disappeared here. Hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. Get rid of this and get rid of this. Cluttered screen. Sorry. There we go. All right, so now I'm still on my iPhone. So all that information I have access to, if I'm within that group for the users conference, I can open it up. I can check it out. And I want to go look at that email template that Sue had created. There it is right there. I can tap on that, open it up, check it out. There we go. All right, looks pretty good. Cool. So everything that I need, whether I'm in the office or out, I am good to go. Now, the last part of today's presentation, we've seen some communication between Anthony and Elliot and Sue and Elliot. What I want to do next and last is kind of bring Elliot into the equation. Now, Elliot is, in this case, the CEO of the company. Could be any level manager or anybody for that matter. But when Elliot logs in, he sees a little bit of a different view. First of all, he's not seeing campaigns or campaign timeline. Actually, he could see campaigns, but what's most important to Elliot is really the dashboards and forecasts. He doesn't want to look at a particular opportunity all the time. He just wants to see the big picture first, and if need be, kind of go and help where's need be. So the first thing that Elliot's going to do is open up a dashboard. And he doesn't want to look at the sales dashboard right now. He wants to look at the CEO dashboard. All right. So the CEO dashboard is a little bit different, kind of using some gauges from marketing or sales or service, kind of moving across the entire business, pipeline, channel, a lot of information. But if he wants to, you can come in here, edit this dashboard. Now, when we start working within Salesforce and dashboards, again, it's very simple to work with information. But if we want to change how something looks, say this donut, and we want to move it to an actual pie chart, we're just going to find the pie chart component over here, click, drag, and drop. It automatically changes the format. And if there's something on here that I didn't need, like, we don't really manage our business to an SLA, I want to get rid of that. And now that I made those changes, I'm going to go ahead and say enclose this, save and close, and I have my changes, right? So whether it was the initial, question of how can I change my screen, it's declarative, it's clicks and drags. How can I build and modify a dashboard? It has the same approach, it's clicks and drags. The next thing that Elliot's going to do, he's going to look at the sales executive dashboard, one we had seen prior. He's going to come all the way down to the bottom. And what he sees also is expiring assets that are expiring up for renewal in the next 120 days. So what he wants to do is tap into this, open up the report. As he does that, he sees, what account it's with, the asset name itself, the install date, who the account owner is, as well as serial numbers or versions or anything else, right? So what he wants to do is make sure that Anthony and Eli are, in tune with this. So very easily, again, we're going to use the power of collaboration and just reach out to Eli and Anthony and say, and reach out to Sue as well, right? Get marketing involved. All right, help these guys out. All right, go ahead and share that. All right, so now we've seen how he's kind of can position and sell the product, and as well as if something does expire and come up for renewal, let's build some information about that. So again, we use that as an opportunity to stay further ingrained with that customer and not just renew their current products, but use that as a chance to kind of upsell some additional products as well. And the last thing that Elliot's going to do is just get into the forecasting. So I can look at a single opportunity, I can look at the big picture, and the big picture is enabled by dashboards as well as the forecast. So when I look at a forecast as the role that I'm in, I see everything. If I manage a quota or my team manages to a quota, I can see that, what's closed, what's committed, what's best case, what's even pipeline. What I want to do right now is I want to drill into Anthony Cohen's team, right? Anthony Cohen's team's closed nothing of late, which is not good. But he has a commit of about $400,000. Best case $5 million, and then pipeline sitting about a little less than $600,000. Decent numbers. If we want to look into what constitutes this $5 million or this 343 or the 598, all I got to do is click on that, and it pulls up all the opportunities that are associated with this particular deal. With this particular time frame and this individual. This is Anthony. So this number is the team that rolls up to Anthony. If we look at the details of Anthony's team, it's Valerie, it's Vance, it's Vanessa, it's Vince, and their particular deals, right? So if we look at Vince's commit of $45,000. It's one opportunity, and if I need to, again, I started at a very high level. Now I'm getting down into the actual opportunity itself, and I can start looking at this and say, you know what, negotiation review, but you know, you don't have any quotes and no products, so something is wrong here. But that's what I had prepared for today's presentation, kind of working from that initial conversation with marketing around a conference and about a campaign, and working with a lead, having that information now involving sales and sales contributing to that, but also managing their account as well as the opportunity with the products and the quotes, whether on a desktop or on a mobile device. And then lastly, bringing in Elliot as the executive, looking at the big picture, looking at his dashboard, using that as a springboard into conversations with the team, whether it's sales or marketing, or just looking at the forecast and understanding, you know what, I'm going into a board meeting, this forecast looks great, and not only does it look great, but the details underneath it, everybody can stand up and say, you know what, that's my commit, that's my best case, and my pipeline's looking very strong. So with that, are there any questions before our time is up today?
You did a great job. Thank you.
This is Bonnie from marketing, and I do have one question. Do you recommend, so if leads and accounts are different, I think, right?
Yes.
A lead is somebody who has not done business with the company yet?
Yes.
So if I need information on leads and customers or accounts, is that difficult to get? Or when do you recommend that a lead becomes an account? Only after they've purchased something, or when do they move from leads to an account?
It happens before they purchase something. So a lead, again, you ask that question to 10 different companies, you may get 10 different answers. But for me, a lead is somebody who is untested. They haven't been a customer before. They haven't purchased anything. You've never spoken to them before. So it's really an untested commodity or an unknown commodity. That's why it's not a contact, not an account. At some point in time, though, you've qualified them. Whether you met them at a trade show, they were on your website, however they actually came to be a lead. But whether it's yourself or the salesperson has spoken to them, identified their needs, and they say, you know what, this is real, this is solid. They're not just kicking tires. So I take that lead and I convert it. When I convert it, it does potentially 3 things at a minimum of 2. It creates the account, creates the contact, and it can, if you want, create the opportunity. If you're not ready for the opportunity yet, that's fine. You can always create the opportunity at a later date. But again, leads, the unknown commodity. Once you've actually gotten to know them, you convert it from a lead to the account and contact.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything, Mika? No, I think we're good, Anthony.
All right, great. I'm going to follow up with Kelvin tomorrow. From your position, do you have any kind of known next steps, or is that something we'll talk about probably after the 4th of July weekend?
That's what we'll do, after the 4th of July weekend.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, thank everybody for your time today. I hope it was time well spent, and I hope everybody has a great 3-day weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.